Thanks for joining us today on HXGN TV. I'm your host, Neville Judd, and today we're learning about a new mine planning product, GeoLogic. Joining me is product manager Seth Gehring. Seth, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Nev.
So Seth, before we talk a little bit about how GeoLogic helps the block model process, let's talk about creating a block model. Geologists spend an inordinate amount of time creating block models. Why does it take so long? Why is it so time consuming?
That's a good question. Building a block model is not an easy job. It's often the culmination of lots of work by not just geologists, but by geophysical exploration. There's also hydrological studies that can go into it, structural mapping, and all of the big decisions in the mine are made based on the geology. The big decisions like how steep are the walls going to be so they don't fall down, what kind of equipment is going to be needed to mine that deposit, how long that deposit will be mined, what the size and shape of the pit's going to be. All of those big decisions are dependent on the block model, and so it has to be done right, and it has to be done accurately. Another thing too is that with banks, their money is in a bank. It's in a vault, so they can go get their money and pull it out. But with a mine, the money's in the ground, and so we're using the geologic model to get a best guess of what's down below the surface. The better that guess, the better estimate we can make, the more accurate our forecast is going to be about what we're actually going to be able to pull out of the ground. So
that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
So tell me, GeoLogic, how does it improve the process of doing that?
So GeoLogic improves the workflow in a lot of different ways. The two biggest ways are that it makes the workflow faster. So we're able to, geologists can do the interpretation much quicker, and it's also a repeatable process. So we've implemented a workflow-based approach, so a geologist can come into the solution and define these discrete events, the geologic events that happened, and they can run that timeline over and over again until it matches exactly what they believe is the best guess of what that geologic deposit, how it was formed and what it looks like. And also, they can do it multiple times. So we can do multiple iterations of the tool. We can look at not just one scenario, but multiple scenarios. In the same time that it used to take to do one, we can now do 30 or 40 different types of scenarios. So there's lots more power for the geologist to do the interpretation and maybe do multiple interpretations and then share that information with others and have them understand exactly the decisions and the steps, the discrete events that were used to build that understanding of the deposit.
So GeoLogic improves on what was already a very popular product, MineSight Implicit Modeler. What are the specific improvements and benefits built onto MineSight Implicit Modeler? How's it different?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have, in the past, as you mentioned, we had another tool called the Implicit Modeling tool, and that was a very powerful tool for geologists. They could pull in their drill hole data and create a surface that showed a geological fault or a geological contact very easily and very quickly. What we found, though, is that wasn't enough. The geologists wanted to have not just one surface to define, but they wanted to have the entire deposit, the whole history of their geology in a tool that they could go through in a timeline-based approach and see multiple steps of how they got from the country rock that they're starting with all the way to the topography that they see today. So what we did was we're using that same powerful technology, the implicit modeling engine, along with some other technology that Hexagon has, and we've incorporated that into the tool so that we've given the user a complete solution for the entire geological modeling workflow, not just those discrete events that we had with the implicit modeling engine in the past.
Right. So a two-part question. So tell me a little bit about the feedback from customers to GeoLogic. I know it's a relatively new product, but are you hearing any examples of time being saved, either statistically or anecdotally?
Yeah, well, it is, as you mentioned, it is a new product, so clients are just starting to use it right now, but the feedback we've had is very positive. We just did a training a couple weeks ago, and the clients that participated in that training were some of the early adopters of the implicit modeling technology that we used before, and the feedback from them initially was that helped them save their geological modeling times, around 50%.
Wow.
And they saw huge potential with GeoLogic. They liked the workflow-based approach, and they felt that they were going to be able to have similar time savings with that tool as well. So we're still in the early stages, but already we're hearing some really positive feedback.
That's great. Is there anything else like GeoLogic on the market?
There are some other tools on the market like GeoLogic. We have some things in our tool that are different, that are such as our true thickness tools. We've been working on this option for a long time, specifically for the coal industry,
Right.
but it's something that we do really well. So we've incorporated that functionality in the tool. We're also integrated with Torque and with MineSight. And the reason I bring up the integration component is we can provide an end-to-end solution, whereas a lot of times if a geologist is running a tool in another application and they have to transfer it to our solution or to another solution, it might be going back and forth between different spreadsheets or through email, and all of those data transfer, that there's a potential for data loss. We could lose precision, for example, or some errors could occur and some things could happen. So having an end-to-end solution really sets us apart from the competition, is being able to make sure that the data is accurate and the data integrity is preserved through the entire workflow.
Right. Finally, what's the future for GeoLogic? Where do you see it developing?
That's a good question. So we have a lot of positive feedback now, and we know we're starting to get some requests from clients, and we also have some ideas of our own that we want to pursue. In the near future, we're going to look at adding more faulting options. So one of the challenges is not just big faulting events, but these little tear faults. They can be kind of tricky to model and hard to deal with. So we're going to add that functionality into the tool to get even better modeling for those smaller fault areas. Also, we'll be looking at adding options to do more iterations and some automation on the workflow side of things, or to be able to run the processes in multiple times.
Right.
So those are some of the things on the kind of in the near term. But
sounds very promising.
Yeah.
Seth, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Right.
If you'd like to learn more about GeoLogic, visit our website, hexagonmining.com. If you'd like to watch additional episodes of HXGN TV, visit hxgntv.com. Thanks for watching.